1, 2, 3. Press the gas. Uh-oh. Welcome to another episode of the Upshift, and today we are going to review my car. It's Audi RS5, and check that bad boy out. This is it right here. Peep out my troll license plate. So this particular RS5 was only made between 2013 and 2015, and I wanted to give everybody like a quick little video as to why I picked this car. If you would want to get it, what I love about it, I don't really hate anything about it. They got some things on this car that I wish that it would be different, but other than that, we better take a ride in it, check it out, see what it's about and everything here. We'll go over the engine. You know what? Let's pop the hood right quick. Let's see what's going on. All right, under the hood of this car is a 4.2 liter V8, naturally aspirated, no turbochargers, no superchargers, nothing like that. It is straight engine power. It makes 450 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque stock. What you're looking at now is a car that's not stock. But we're gonna look at some other things too. But like mine is naturally aspirated. I could go supercharger on it, but I might do that later. But for right now, this car here, it's fun as all get out to drive. I mean, for what you can pay for this car, there's nothing out there that will quite match this car. So we're gonna get into the car. We're gonna drive around a little bit, give you my driving impressions, and we're gonna go a little bit further into detail on it. So a little bit about the car, man. This car here is fantastic to drive. I really don't know of another car that you can get that is within the price range of this car that still gives you the same driving dynamics that this car really gives you. You have to think, this is a V8 naturally aspirated that revs well over 8,000 RPM. You're not going to find that anywhere else. I mean, there's really nothing new that will give you this kind of driving experience. I mean, outside of the new Zeal 6 that's coming out, there's nothing available. The last car that was able to do this here, that was produced around the same time as this, is the GT350. That was a little bit more different. I mean, that one had a stick shift. This one here has a 7-speed dual clutch, launch control, all-wheel drive. Different kind of car. But we're going to drive around in this car here to really get it together and do a launch control too, so y'all can hear that, see what goes on with it, and get some really reactions for me as to why this is a car that you should get. So pay attention on here and just listen to how the sound of the engine just really changes. Oh, here we go. There's nothing that sounds like that, really, at all. Let me close this here because there's a lot of wind noise that comes from that. But something like this, it is completely different, man. I mean, listen, I suggest if you're able to find one of these cars, test drive it, really, really, really get an understanding of, what this car, maybe I bring this down some. That'll help. There we go. Really get an understanding of what this car really, really is. It drives different than, let's say, like your American muscle car, right? As far as performance, it's completely different, right? If you look at something, let's say, like a Camaro or a Mustang, or the typical American muscle cars, the driving dynamics of this is totally different. I mean, it's not even in the same league. And I'm not saying, to harp on those cars on performance. It's just that the way that the power delivered in those cars is completely different. This car here has really no torque at all. It only has 317 pounds of torque. So if you're used to, that burning rubber and torque at, 3,000 RPM and all of that, this is not the car that's going to deliver that. On the flip side of it, This car revs to 8,000 RPM, well, past 8,000 RPM, and the feeling of it is completely different. Where those cars there are maxing out on power, this car here is just getting into the power that it can really produce. It's very, very different. I don't know if that was 3 gears drop and I'm at 5,000 RPM. That's 5,500. That's 6,000, 6,500, 7,000, and I shifted. And that was well over a speed that I really can't say. I'm not saying that speed. However, I had 1,000 more RPM to go. Actually, like 1,500 more RPM to go. And it's just a joy to drive this car more than any car that I've driven before. I mean, listen, they're faster cars. They are cars that you can spend, you know, and get what your heart truly desires. I'm not bashing any other car. I am saying that this car here, it is, you, before you cast judgment on the car that, you know, oh, it doesn't have that much torque, drive it. You know, people, you know, always talk about, you know, torque cars and all that. I mean, think about it. The Audi R8, the V10, the most powerful R8 that has ever been made, right, has barely 400 pounds of torque in it. That's less torque than a Mustang. That's less torque than a Scat Pack 392. And that car will walk the hell out of those cars. As will this one. I mean, 317 pounds. Look, it doesn't have any torque down low. What you have to do is you have to downshift. The cool thing about having that is I have such a wide power band. I have 8,000 revs to play with versus, you know, most cars have 5,500 to play with, 6,000, 6,500 to play with, and it's a completely different driving dynamic. That was 5 gears I just dropped down. So we're going to do a little turnaround. We're going to drive through the city. And we're going to just, you know, get some driving on. Let's see. Other things about this car. I mean, it has a full leather interior. You're going to get all of the luxury with this car here that the cars that I just mentioned doesn't have. It's just a pure drive luxury. It's the perfect balance, I would say, right, between luxury and speed, because you have a V8 engine, you have an engine that revs to over 8,000 RPM, you have the ability to do a sub 4 second 0 to 60, and you have leather, you have Alcantara in the car, you have carbon fiber throughout the car, you have all these things that scream, you know, luxury, super sport, and then you have the performance to back it up. If you're able to find one of these cars, get it. It's a very rare car. The main competitors of this car was the C63 AMG and the BMW M3. Now, before I got this car, I knew that I wanted one of those 3 cars, right? And I test drove them all. And what I found was, let's talk about the M3 first, right? So I jumped into an M3. That car, it was very similar to this. As far as the driving dynamics of the car, it felt great. High revving, just like this one. I think the RPM is the same. It's over 8,000 RPM, right? It's a little bit smaller engine, makes less horsepower, less torque. It is a lighter car. It just didn't feel as good as this one. I can't really explain it. It just didn't have that same kind of touch that this car had. It made good power. It just didn't feel right to me. I really liked it. However, it really wasn't what I thought that it would be. I test drove the C63. That is a torque monster. It makes way more torque than this here. It made 1 horsepower more. This had 450, that had 451. It did not rev nowhere near as high as, you know, this car does. Completely different tone, completely different everything, right? And it's rear-wheel drive. So as far as, you know, the all-wheel drive aspect of this car, that car really doesn't. I'm going to let some cars go by and then I'm going to do a launch on a car, and that way you can kind of see the reaction of it. But like I said, this car here will do a sub 4 second 0 to 60, and it's addictive. Like it's I have I have been at many traffic lights with this car here, and with the license plate that I got, it really brings on like everybody to race me from a standstill, and I beat every single one of them. It's all-wheel drive, a crap ton of power, and a dual clutch transmission is the perfect uh, element for a rip your face off 0 to 60. This car is fun. It really, really is. So we're going to do a launch right quick as soon as we let this car that's coming up by. All right, let's go. So if you want to launch an RS5 or any Audi, any performance Audi, whether it's a S or RS car, it's really, really simple. What you want to do is put it in dynamic mode. So we're going to do that. You're going to turn traction control off. Now, you can press the button down a little bit more, and you can turn the stability control off. If you do that, it gets a little squirrely. I think that keeping the stability control on is better. They may have some people that turn everything off and still get a good 0 to 60, but every single time that I have done a launch in this car and done it that way, I got under 4 seconds. I did it with it on, and it was like 4 seconds, 4.1, 4.2, just because the steering wheel starts going left and right, and I wouldn't say it's uncontrollable, but you need the stability control to get that going. So we got one more car that's going to go, and then we're going to do a launch. Back to launch control. You're going to press, once you have it in dynamic mode, once you have the traction control up, you're going to hit the brake. Hold the brake down for at least 3 seconds. Mash the gas. It should get to about 5,800 RPM, and then it's going to take off like a rocket. 1, 2, 3. Press the gas. Uh-oh. I forgot to shift. That was fun, wasn't it? Now, you can launch this car in automatic mode. I found that it's been quicker to launch in manual mode, and I forgot to shift. It was just so much fun. Man, that was intoxicatingly good. But yeah, that right there, even though my hands was going this way, I did a 4.0, right? And this is on the street. Most people, when they post they times and they post their dragons on the prep surface, they gotta go to a track and everything and burn out tires and all that stuff here. This car here, look, listen, get you some decent tires, like some Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's, some R888Rs, or even a Pilot Sport Cup 2, and you will consistently do a sub 4 second 0 to 60. It is a fun car to drive. It changes your mind of how some cars can really perform for the price point that you can do it. Now, I bought my car pre-COVID, right? Mine was a pre-COVID car. I got mine on an excellent deal at the end of the month, and I paid a crazy amount for it, right? There was no way I was not going to buy that car, right? Now, you can get these cars here, a good decent one in the $40,000 range, right? A 2013 to 2015. Now, there was no 2016 RS5. There was a 2017. That one was replaced with a 2.9 liter twin turbo V6. That one made less horsepower. It made more torque. Same for same. It is a quicker car. My car in particular, I can match it as far as 0 to 60, quarter mile, and all of those times. But stock off the shelf, it is a quicker car, but it just doesn't feel as raw as this car here. To put it into a term that some people can understand is, this is a sports car that has luxury tendencies on it, right? In 2017, it came out with another RS5, right? Has a 2.9 liter V6, twin turbo, really good car, right? Now, most will say it's a better car in every single way, right? The steering is better. The driving dynamics is better. It's faster by not a huge margin, right? I mean, you're going to improve every time that you get faster, right? And the only reason that that car makes better power is because of the torque. It has like 100, more pounds of torque with it, as opposed to this one. This car only has, as I said before, 317 pounds of torque. That one has like 443. So it's going to be a quicker car. Now, you can tune this car, to match it very easily. My car in particular, I've done intake work on it. I have a tune. I have a full Multec exhaust on it. It is drop down 4 gears. I could do 5. But that car, the newer car, is a luxury car that's trying to be sporty. And the older one, which is this one here, the first gen, is a sports car with luxury tendencies, right? It has, all right, go ahead and pass me up. They got some drivers that are like that, right? It is a car that has really good tendencies as far as, giving that sport and luxury mix. The newer one, don't get me wrong, if I had a chance to buy one, I would. I test drove both of them. It just didn't light my fire as much as this one here. And sometimes speed isn't everything, right? But there is something about, downshifting the car like this that car cannot do. It doesn't give that same kind of driving feel that this one does. It just doesn't. That one there, it's a V6, it's twin turbo, it doesn't sound as good. This here has a dual clutch transmission with a true launch control, whereas the newer one has automatic. Now, don't get me wrong, that automatic, it's an incredible automatic. It is, but it doesn't have true launch control like this one does. Simply does not have it. Do I think they did a step? Wow, that sun is bright. Do I think they did a step back? Kind of depends on what you're looking for in a car, right? That's what I would say. It's faster. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't sound as good. I think that this car here, this version will hold its value better and longer than a newer car. It just didn't do it for me. That's why I didn't get the newer one. This one here is, to me, 10 times as better. It's a great car to have. And it does things like that. I don't know really how to describe it. It is such a different car to drive. If you're able to find one, test drive one, please do it. It is a miraculous car to have. It's rarer. Now, I don't know the exact numbers, but if you look at, every forum, there's, I don't know, some sites say there's about 1,500 that are in the United States total. That's over 3 years. Some have the number around the 2,500 mark, but even still, if you got under 3,000 of these cars in America, it's much rarer than a C63, which is, there's like 10 of them everywhere you go. Less of them than an M3, which is, if you try to buy one used, there's like 64 pages of it, with each page have like 25 of them on it. This car here, I found 48 total in the whole US. That's coupes, convertibles, all 3 years. It is a rare car. I go to car shows. I'm the only one. And then when people say, oh man, is that the V8 RS5? I say, yeah. And, it feels kind of good to have something that nobody else has. I'm part of a car club, and there's only 2. Now, this car club, I mean, when they all go out, It's maybe like 50 cars. R8s, RS7s, S6s, RS6s, RS3s, just any kind. And there's like 2 or 3 at the most of this car here. And mine is one of them. I really don't know, what to say. I mean, that 8,000 RPM redline is addictive. It really, really, truly is. Get one. But I'll be back. I gotta go get some out of the store, which is just one of those like little one take, one drive kind of things. So, well, 2 takes, 'cause I gotta go to the store. But I'll be right back. All right. Well, this is part 2 of the video. Had to handle some business, and camera died, so we're doing it again. Well, the second part anyway. So right now, let's talk about some good and or not ideal things about the car, right? They have a lot of things that I really truly like love about this car, and then there are some things that I feel that I mean, some things just come with the car just by you having it. Some things can be improved on it. First thing is what I think, I always say, how people do the 5 things that they like and 5 things that they don't like, or that they love and that they hate. I don't hate too many things on this car. I think I don't really hate anything. First thing that I really, really don't like about this car is the gas mileage. I get it. However, the gas mileage in this car, if you push it to the limit, is crazily bad. I mean, I have gotten, what, 8 miles a gallon on the worst day, which is crazy. The tuning part of the engine, you're not going to have cheap speed. So if you get this car here and think you're going to spend $1,000 and you're going to, get another, 600 horsepower, whatever number that you think that it should be, got another thing coming. It's not that, because basically what you have right here is a V8 version of the V10 that's in a Lamborghini. You can tune it, but you're going to spend some money doing it. So just be prepared for that piece. Third thing, the most thing that you have to work on the engine. I mean, most things are really accessible, but things like the belt, I mean, it looks like, certain things you might have to drop the motor on. They sell a header kit for this car, which is not that expensive. Go full, open race headers, but you have to drop the engine. They packed this engine so far into this car that most things are going to have an engine out just to get, some decent performance out of it. So just be prepared, to spend some money. You'll get good performance. But like I said, you're going to spend some money getting that together. That's about the things that I really, don't like about it. Now on to the things that I do love, right? This engine here is exclusive. That in the US, this engine is only in this car, right? That's it. It's in nothing else. It is not in any other Audi, any other RS Audi, no other car in the Volkswagen group. So when people look at this car, like, man, what kind of engine is that? It's really cool to have an exclusive engine to a particular car. That is what I love about it. There's a huge bump right here. Goodness. That is a good thing, right? I also love this car has a dual personality, right? On the one hand, it's I feel like it's an all-out performance car, right? And then on the flip side, I can put this car in comfort mode. I can put it in automatic mode. The exhaust calms down. Everything gets real quiet. And it's just a regular car. You don't have to drive it, on 10 all the time. Most cars that you look at as performance-oriented cars, they're always on 10. The exhaust is always, loud. As I have it right now in comfort mode, it's quiet. It's not, balls out loud and everything like that. Even though I have this full exhaust on it, it's not that crazy. it really has a dual personality with this car. Let's see other things, that I love about it. I love the fact that it's rarer than the M3. That it's, you have less of this and you have the C63. So when I go to different places and whatnot, I do not, see 15 of my car. So when I come up to the car shows and stuff, it's cool to have one of the only of, a certain car. That's another cool thing. It really changes how I feel about this car. Going to stop somewhere else. I gotta get me something to eat. Um, Another thing that that I like about it, that it's gonna hold its value. It's a naturally aspirated engine, so it's not gonna be one of those cars where where it's turbocharged and everybody else is turbocharged and it's going to be the same as everybody else. This car is entirely different. The natural aspirated engine is just, my God, it's the feel of this car is very different. What else, man? It's just too much. I mean, revving at 8,000 RPM, it is fun. Other than that, I mean, listen, get this car, enjoy it. If you come across one of them, check it out, test drive it. It's reliable. Many people say that Audis and BMWs and Mercedes and all these German cars here are, they're going to spend a lot of money. You're going to, spend, your life savings to maintain it. That is not, what it is. These cars here can go well deep into the 100,000-mile range without any issues. Mine is there. I know a friend of mine is a black one. His is almost at 140,000. As long as you maintain it, the engine in the car is gonna run flawlessly. Just keep it together, right? Don't skip on your maintenance. You get that together, you're fine. And this is like perhaps like the most reliable engine that Audi has ever made. Uh, all I can say is get it. I give this here. If I was to give it a scale on 1 to 10, 1 it being absolutely the worst car you can get, 10 being like get it before you need to eat dinner tonight, this is like a solid 9. There are some cars that are obviously more expensive than this that you can go and get, but nothing gives you the practicality of this car. Whereas, you have the leather seats, you have the back seats, you have all of the tech and everything. You have a trunk, you can go on a long drive with it. It's a real GT car, versus a lot of these cars here that, they have back seats and you really can't fit nobody behind it. I mean, back seats are small, but they're not like super small. Like I can get it, have somebody in my passenger side and have a full-fledged adult in the back and go on a trip and have luggage and do all these things, that a car like this was intended to make. Um, yeah. Other than that, so next things is we're gonna do some more performance things, to this car. I'm gonna take you guys along for the ride with that. I have a body kit coming for it. I have some other things that I'm doing to it, and we're gonna do a whole overhaul of the car and just see the journey from where it was before, where it is now, and where it's gonna be. So that concludes the video. I will holler at y'all. Look for another video in a few days. We're going to look at some other things about the car. We have some shows that we're going to go to and have some fun there. And I will holler at y'all later. Peace.